Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar about the X2 processor sign by HTI. Before we start, we'd like to attend you that your microphones and cameras are automatically turned off and that this webinar is being recorded. During this session, we'll have the chance to send us questions in the Q&A section of this webinar at the top of the Teams banner, and these will be answered during the Q&A session of the webinar. Any further in-depth questions or questions regarding price can also be sent and answered via email. This webinar is being co-presented by Ken Talarico and from NBS Scientific and Britta Stolze, the sales manager at HTI Smart Automation. At last, my name is Daniel Newton. I'll be the moderator for this webinar. Well, first we'll talk more in depth about NBS Scientific, and after that we'll pass it on to Britta, and she can tell you more about HTI, the X2 processor, and the Sign software. Now, this webinar is expected to last about 40 minutes, and the last 10 minutes are reserved for the additional questions.
NBS Scientific, we are a supplier of innovative laboratory products. These products are in the areas of sample collection, handling, managing and storage of all samples, sample and liquid preparation, liquid handling, cell culture, and all types of different laboratory automation. NBS Scientific is an international distribution network, and supporting a wide range of laboratory products. We actively serve areas in the research laboratories, hospitals, university biobanks in over 10 different countries. NBS Scientific now has over 20 years of experience in the life science industry. However, the United States is the only NBS Scientific location that is a supplier of the core values here at NBS Scientific are innovation, creativity, quality, and sustainability. We stand to innovate solutions and keep up with the latest trends in today's market. We value creativity. Our colleagues creative solutions, and we like to work together with them to come up with the best plans for their needs. We take quality very seriously here at NBS Scientific and the products that we offer. We aim to deliver the products so that, like I said, the highest quality and but also the value quality of life. And also sustainability is a very large initiative here at NBS Scientific. We really take that as an important thing that we aim to do our part to offer a more sustainable environment, also by choosing sustainable partners to work alongside with.
My turn, perfect. Then I switch over. Yes, my name is Britta Stolze. I work for HTI Automation since 6 years now. We are located in Germany, very close to Munich. And Wolfgang Heimberg, who's the founder of the company, he founded the company more than 20 years ago, and he's still our managing director and is the brain behind all the new developments for our automation solutions for the laboratories. We are approximately 35 employees. Most of them are working in the service and installation department in order to serve our customers afterwards they received the machines as well. So one part is, of course, the machines which we have on stock, which can be really delivered really fast. And the other part is then to have the service team on site. We do not really have a focus of industry. We say everybody who needs a machine for tube and liquid handling, all kind of tubes, all kind of vials. So it's listed here, of course, in the research, pharma, life science industry. But if anybody else needs our machine, we are happy to help. When Wolfgang started the company, we provided all kind of different customized solutions, and we're still doing that. So one part is the customized solution. So in case our standard products we do not have on stock, we will work together with the customer to find the right solution. On the other hand, we are also developing OEM products, and our partners are here selling the machines. And then we have our standard business, which is called the X2 processor series, which started out of our customer product as well. Like we do all these customized solution. One time a customer came, actually it was a customer from the US who wanted to cap and decap micro screw cap tubes. And that's how our standard series started. We started, as you see on the left side, with the basic module. We started for capping and decapping micro screw cap tubes. And then over a while, new requirements came. So the first one, decapping and capping. Then the next one wanted decap and recap again and labeling. And then capping, decapping, labeling and filling, and then with cooling and all different kind of requirements came, and so our standard portfolio grew. We have here the X2 processor basic, the smart, the flex, and our latest development is the sign, which we want to talk today about it. The sign is for only labeling, which sounds pretty simple. Sometimes it's more behind than just placing a label on it. It's also a lot about data handling and data management, which I will show you in a second. A bit of the history, how it started, as I said, is just the basic machine for capping and uncapping, and then we still had a lot of different kind of customized solution, which we called Ultra, and from there even the big machine Flex was developed, which was then a huge machine, but we needed something in between, which just one hand just capping, and then the Flex machine, which was such a big machine. And that's why we had the standard product for a smart system, and out of the smart system, which is able to fill, cap and label, we developed then just a labeling machine, the X2 processor Sign, which was launched almost 2 years ago. Now, then we can go into more details about that's not maybe not nice for the machine. It's a labeling machine. It's, as I said, it's not a huge machine. It's a benchtop machine, so we do not need so much space in the laboratories. So it's less than a square meter, less than a meter by a meter. And the advantage is here that we can really handle a huge variety of different kind of labware, so vials and tubes, and as well racks. We don't need to change here the gripper, so everything is done via the software. We have a labware manager, which I will show you later in the software. And in the machine, we have space for 12 SBS position, but also we can here adjust the position. So the SBS format is a standard format, but we can also change the position of the racks according the requirements of the racks. The machine is divided. We have our smaller setup of the machine. So the outer, okay, wrong wording. Maybe it was a German wording. It's the machine can handle, on the one hand, smaller tubes with a diameter from 7 millimeter to 22 millimeter. So it's like small matrix tube until the 15 ml tubes. It has to do something with the size of the labeler and the gripper. And in case you have bigger tubes, then we have we call it BT35. Then we can handle tubes with a diameter from 16 to 35 millimeter. So at the beginning of a project, we always need to check what is the range of your tubes, and we can divide into these two machines. But in this range, the machine is completely flexible. and more labware can be added. The machine has a gripper, which you can see on the right of the top, and the gripper has a possibility that over the software you can tell the gripper what kind of tube or vial it needs to be handled. So everything is done through the software, that you never need to change the hardware. So you don't need to exchange the gripper when using different kind of labware. And as you see on the picture already, you can set up different tubes and tube or vial sizes within one run of the machine, and therefore no change of the gripper is needed. The printer we have included is a standard module from the company CAP. Maybe it's well known in the market and you might know it. It's also a German company, and we integrate that standard printer, which has a 600 dpi resolution, and it prints the labels according to your requirements. We have also included our barcode scanner so that you can verify afterwards the print quality. You can verify whether the right data is printed, and also the possibility we have is to read the data matrix code on the bottom of the tubes in case there is one. So there are some matrix tube or matrix tubes or cryo vials which have some pre-printed 2D codes, and this we can then combine, or we call it always marry, with the data you have printed on the labels. As mentioned before, as a standard, we have a rack plate with 12 positions for SPS racks. In case you have other kind of racks, bigger, smaller, round would be a bit difficult, but everything else we can then adjust the rack plate. As next, I would like to show you the video. So to see the machine once running, and hopefully we can switch that now from the presentation, that you see the machine running. As I mentioned up front here, with the 12 rack position, you can set up the machine with different kind of racks and tubes. And through the software, the machine knows exactly on which position is what kind of rack and what kind of tube. When it takes it out, it goes first here, in that case, to the scanner, because it has a data matrix code on the bottom. It scans that, and afterwards it receives the label with the labeling information with that code as well, and then bring together in the software the information of both data matrix codes, so we can marry the data. As also mentioned, we can then change in one run from different tube types to another tube type. The machine exactly knows, or the gripper knows, how wide it needs to go open, on which position in the rack it needs to go, and as well how deep it needs to go on that position of the labeler to know exactly on which position the label needs to be placed. And this we can easily add in the software by measuring the top of the tube to the top of the label, and this you add in this software, and then it easily will be applied on that position. If you don't like the position, you press on pause, you change that data, and then you can continue, and on the next tube it will be positioned on another place on the tube. The machine is pretty simple. It's a gripper taking the tube out of the rack, bring it to the labeler. As I said, the label is a labeler from CAB and the printer, and then bring it afterwards back. The idea behind the machine is how does the machine know on which position is what kind of rack, what kind of tube, and what exactly needs to be printed on the certain label. And this I would be happy to show you now in the software. I would switch over to the software. So now you see the surface of the user interface. When the operator logs into in the laptop, so the machine comes with a separate laptop, or you can provide your own laptop if that is required. You log in, and then you see that start user interface. We have a user management. The user management has the possibility that you set up your own user roles. The user roles, you can define different kind of users, more users, and you can select what kind of user had what kind of rights, which user role, and then you add the next user and give that certain user a user role. So you can all decide how you want to have that. That is the user management is important for you, as well as important the labware management. You saw that the machine is really flexible, what kind of tubes and racks you want to use. But of course, at the beginning, you need to tell the system what kinds of tubes will be used. First of all, and what kind of deck might be in that machine. So I have here the SBS deck with 3x4 racks. As I said already quite a lot of times, you can use other kind of racks than SBS racks, but then we need another deck. So we can add another deck here. And of course, then we can add also different kind of racks. And you need to tell the system how the rack looks like, how big it is, what kind of dimension it has, and where are the positions of the tubes. The same has to do with tubes. So you add here all the different kind of tubes you want to use. And you add here not just the height and the diameter, you also have to add where does the gripper need to grip it, and how wide the gripper needs to open, and how far it has to close. So we don't want to destroy the tubes. So of course, then the gripper has just a certain dimension how close it should go. This we would do for you at the beginning when setting up the machine. So you don't need to do it your own, but you could add afterwards. We deliver the machine. If you have new labware you want to use, you can add here more, or we can do it for you, up to you. And this can be added as well as with the label sizes. If you're one label size, you can add different kind of label sizes if needed. Of course, when the machine is running, of course, just one certain label size can be used. Important is here that you bring the relations together so that you know what kind of tube will receive what kind of label. And here you can easily adjust the position of the label. As I said, measured from the top of the tube until the top of the label. You change the number here, you save it, and then the next tube has another kind of position. That's you need to do, of course, before you start. When everything is set, you go into, I'm sorry, it's called Smart. Of course, it's a Sign machine, but both machines have the same software. In that case, I have just 6 rack positions. In the Sign, as mentioned before, we have also 12 rack positions. On that side here, you can list your next batch, what you want to do, what kind behind this job you can send from your ERP system or ERP or LIMS system. You send a next batch what you want to produce. Behind this, what kind of tube we need the information, what kind of rack, and also what kind of information you want to print. So you can send that on position in rack 1, on position A1, you want to print different data than on the tube, which is on position A2. So you can completely flexible tell the system, position by position, what kind of information should be printed. And then you have here a list of certain jobs. You can either send it directly to this machine, or we have a job manager. The job manager can receive also an Excel sheet. You can upload an Excel sheet with all this information in case you do not have an ERP system. The job manager looks like, okay, I'm not doing that very good. Do you see the job manager now? Yeah, this is the job manager. And in the job manager, you can import an Excel sheet. When importing an Excel sheet, you send over all the data you want to have. So on each position, maybe different data, maybe the same data. So you send it to the machine, what should be done. And then you have listed here the jobs. At the moment, these jobs are already on the machine. That is the next job with 347 you just created when uploading the Excel file, and you bring it then to the machine. When you bring it here to the machine, okay, I'm sorry, that was wrong. You bring it over here. So I've started 2ML cube. Now it is on the machine. That creating a new job can run everywhere in the company, wherever you are, wherever your computer is. It's not necessary that it's next to the machine. So you can create your jobs, and then drag and drop, creating it here. You bring it to open to the machine. You can go wherever the machine is located, you go there. And of course, then you need to bring the hardware to the machine and also select what kind of job you want to do as the next. So I go back to the machine. So I have here the charged 2ML tubes, which I just created. It has 2 racks behind, so I can easily with drag and drop, I can position here my next job. And on other positions is another kind of job. So I have maybe here also, it can be on 3 and 4. So that is how you then position. Of course, you position by drag and drop the software part, that the machine knows on which position is what kind of rack and what should be printed. And then, of course, the hardware you need to place yourself then into the machine on the right position. Then you just press start, and then the machine is printing the information on the certain tube one after the other. You can pause it in between if you want to place the next. I'm not sure which I have. I did not have this hardware on the machine. I just have a, sorry, I just add here the Sarstedt tubes, I'm sorry. So you can in between add more tubes and racks. You can, in case one is finished, you can remove it and then bring another kind of rack on the same position. And then press on continue. So then the next one will continue. So you can pause it, for example, and you also see when you press on each tube what exactly is printed on the certain tube. Here you receive the information. And in case there's a data matrix code printed and we read it back with a scanner, whatever was read here, you can also save it back in the Excel sheet when downloading afterwards the Excel sheet, or you can compare it. So if you say it should have printed 2040 and it was 2041 what was reading, so then we know, okay, there might be some mistake. That was the presentation of the machine and the software in really quick and really fast. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I have a few more slides. Maybe we can summarize it a bit when going back to the slides. As I mentioned, we have the lever manager. The labware manager is really there for if you want to add more labware. You can easily do it when go into the labware manager, and then you can add whatever labware which is in a certain range pretty easy. You can do it yourself, or you send us your labware, we can test it up front and then send you the details what you need to upload. We have the job manager. As I said, you can create new batches remotely wherever you have these job manager installed. You can create new jobs via the Excel file or CSV data. You load it up and bring it then remotely to the machine, as I showed you. The user management, you have completely control of the user management. You select the user roles and then give the certain users the user role, what is important to do. We have an audit trail functions. So afterwards, you can download the audit trail. So it will log all the software changes, all whatever this certain operator is doing. It will be logged. In addition, we have the functionality in case you need to change any hardware, you can also write that in the audit trail and that will be logged. The software part, as I mentioned, so all the data you want to print can be either uploaded from an Excel or CSV file via the job manager or through a standard REST API interface. You can send it from the LIMS or ERP system. So both ways are possible. And what was our goal of this software was that we set it up really easy to use for the operator. So with all the pictures and all these screen to really make it easy as possible. That was our goal. Just as a summary, what I showed you on the right hand, you see the job manager, and on the other side, you see the machine. The job manager is not there just for creating new jobs. You can also see what is at the moment in progress. So you see exactly that two jobs are already on the machine. And from the first job, already 20 tubes are gone or are done. So then you know exactly when will be your job finished, and then you can go to the machine and exchange it. That is one way that you see what your machine is doing. But on the other hand, we have the email functionality as well. So in case the machine stops due to any reason, that could be also when the batch is finished, that the person who was logged in and set up the job is receiving an email that the job is finished. So both parts will be possible, right? Either the job manager, but also receiving emails to see the status of the machine. That we call it, I was a bit talking about already about the scanner. We call it twin code. Twin code was the idea, since we have two codes the machine can read. We have it on the label. We call it also body barcode. And we have it on the bottom of some tubes, so on the matrix tube, for example, that we can read the bottom barcode as well. That's why we call it twin. And these two codes can be mirrored. So the data of the bottom and the data of the label can be mirrored, that you know exactly when reading the bottom barcode, you know also the data of the label or the other way around. So on the one hand, we check the data and we marry the data. A new functionality is also that when reading the bottom barcode, that we know that the machine is then receiving the data, what should be printed on the label. That functionality is also possible. So either marrying the data or receiving the data for the print job. And when we read the data, we write it back in the file you want to have. You can write it back into the Excel file, and then you can download it after the batch is finished, or we write it back in the ERP or in the LIMS system. The demo was already done. I showed you in between the machine. Yeah, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. If they're not now, just send afterwards an email. I'm happy to answer all the questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Britta. Yeah, if there are any questions afterwards, feel free to send them to our email address and or to Britta, of course. And we're happy to schedule a call with you as soon as possible to help you with these. Well, this concludes the webinar on the X2 processor Sign. If there are any questions, feel free to get in contact with us. Well, I'd love to say a thank you to Britta, of course, from HTI, and Ken for presenting. I'd love to see you next time.
Thank you.